Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Inktober workshop. My name is Gisela. I'm the Adult Services Librarian, and I will be the host for today. I'll also be helping out with any tech-related things that pop up. We want to give a very special thank you to Jax for being our presenter for the day. For those of you who may not know them, they're actually a library employee, but they're also really talented artists. They are a self-taught cartoonist and fantasy enthusiast, and they specialize in ink and digital art. If you don't find them at the library, you can find them playing video games online or working on their upcoming Monster Girl Cafe comic. So take it away, Jax.
Hello. So Inktober, what is Inktober? Inktober is an art day challenge for all of October of all 31 days where you have to draw something from a prompt list from either the creator of Jake Parker or someone else's, or you can make your own. And the thing of the challenge is it's really hard to draw every single day. You kind of get kind of exhausted and burnt out. So this is part of the challenge. For any skills, it's not really, it's for everybody. You don't have to be like an expert. You could be a beginner and you can use simple household items, basic pens, or you could do the expensive, like the higher end. What I have right here is some pens that you probably got from your kit, 2 pens, your sketch pad, and it's always best to start off with like a pencil sketch so you can ink over on top. It's not really cheating because you're still drawing it. You could color your ink sketches with highlighters if you want. We have Copics here or just regular Crayola markers if you want. Or you could even ink out your ink drawing with colored ink. That's always fun. Or if you want to be in a high-end professional level, you could use Prismacolor Premiere. These are for the kind of like for comics. They have different ranges inside here. So I have the very smallest all the way up to the very biggest. So the biggest is like a pen brush. Some examples, some things from the beginner is something like this. Something's kind of simple. It's not super extravagant. It's very cute. Something more exotic or, blown out. It's super detailed. I'm just amazed at this. This is really cool. An example for color. This person does black and gold. Again, it's all ink. You could paint it maybe, but mostly it's just ink and markers. This one's kind of like spooky. I think that's really cute. Another example of color is this one. You can see he keeps with the Halloween theme with just black and orange. Or you could go all out and add lots of different colors to your painting. So I'm gonna go ahead and move everything out of the way so I could show you some inking skills. So cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is just a lot of lines all together. So like just and then cross-hatching is just you making like little crosses all together. And the point of inking is basically you're shading. You're shading your drawing to make it more 3D, more come to life. Hatching though is just one way. So I'm not crossing into it, it's just one direction. And this is like the light of the ball. It's creating kind of like a shadow. Contour, since it's a sphere, we're gonna go in the shape of a ball. So if I go from the bottom here, you kind of curve your way into the shadow. And cross contour is basically the same thing, but also cross hatching. And then I'll go the other way, but curving. Yes.
How do you know when to use one or the other?
It totally is up to your style. As you see from like my other examples, they don't really use any of those techniques, but up here, He does like a little bit of cross hatching. He does some lines here. Oh, yes. Yes, I can. So where was I? Okay. There's like some little cross hatchings here. Mostly it's just like the finer details. Something like this. This one doesn't have any shadow, but this one, there's like lines here. This is probably contouring. He's going with the hood and then with the bat wing as well. So it's really up to you. I say just experiment, see what you like. It's ultimately whatever preference you have. So contrasting lines. Contrasting lines is fun. There's really no dynamic or anything. It's just a bunch of lines here. But then you also hatch them up. But as you can see, it takes a while. Stippling is really not my forte, so I'll use a bigger ink one. Stippling is basically lots of little dots. So I'm gonna dot it up. It keeps going.
Like the ghost.
Yeah, yeah, like the ghost has some stippling inside. Another one is just doodles, where you just scribble and it gets a basic idea that your shadow is here. Very easy. Is there any questions? Am I good to go?
The questions in the chat. Does anybody want to unmute themselves and ask any questions about the shadow techniques?
So for day one is a gargoyle. So as I said before, it's really, I recommend getting a pencil and an eraser and sketch out your drawing first. For today, I have a little gargoyle cat. And I'm gonna go ahead and ink away. And if anybody has questions about my techniques, they are allowed to ask during. So today I'm gonna use a 0.005 and I have a 0.3. So the 0.3 is thicker and the 0.5 is very small and fine tuned. I like this one because the thicker one tends to like bleed through and it's very thick. I want my drawings usually to be thin and whimsical. Giselle is going to show us a hack of hers that she figured out.
Yeah, so to prevent it from bleeding through, I've just started adding like a envelope or a thicker piece of paper underneath. And that way, if anything, that way it won't stain the page below it. But that's just a quick hack that you can do if you're concerned. If you're using something like markers or trying out an ink wash, then you can definitely place something underneath.
I think those are beautiful.
Thank you.
You could definitely sketch ahead for the rest of the prompt and totally ink it out later. There is no rules. You could do whatever you want. You could sketch out all of Inktober if you want in one day, whatever floats your boat. Okay. So with my thing on, let's see. So gargoyles are hard, right? They're stone. So I'm not gonna make her so fluffy. So I'm gonna do what is some stippling, which is the dots, which I not like so much. I mostly do lots of cross contour on my drawings. Here she is. I sketch her out very lightly so I could go over an ink and then erase it when I'm done with the drawing. I'm gonna stipple around here because I want her to have like a stony texture. And I really like these small drawing pads because doing this a lot could be very troublesome. And if you drawing like a big canvas, it's always very hard. So as you can see, I keep on doing it over and over and trickling down. And it kind of looks like a stone, like a rock. I drew a moon right here, so we're gonna draw that later, so I can show some techniques of that. But here I have like some fur here. So with my thin one, I'm just gonna draw some lines here. Indicate that it's fur.
When is it best to use a thin pen versus a thick pen?
Thin pens for smaller details. Thick pens, you can't really capture the small details. Like if I stifle or stippling the ear here, it will just totally bleed out. That's extra. If I go in with my black pen and I outline her ear, actually, I don't really like this so much as the small one. It's more grainy here than compared to what I just did right here.
So finer pens give you more control.
Yeah, they do. The thicker one, less control I have.
Are there areas that are better to use thicker pens, like outlines?
It depends where the shadow is. So let me see if I could. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the thicker the line is the area with more shadows.
Yes.
More shadows equals thicker lines.
Yes, that's why I always start with the thinner line first, because I'm adding into the shadow. Then later, if I want where the shadow is, I'll go in with a thicker pen.
Nancy's asking, can you trace a drawing or do you have to draw it?
You do. That's a good question. For artists, part of the challenge is making original art. But if it's just like for you, as long as you're giving credit, if you're posting online, I say go ahead and trace. But keep in mind to credit the artist first. Like I don't see any harm in tracing an art piece and inking it yourself for more practice. Like I see that's totally okay.
Also, like me personally, when I draw, I just want to make sure folks can hear me, right? Just comment yes if you can. But I'm really bad with proportions. So I'll trace like a general body shape, but then I'll add in my own details and make it my own. So I see that as sort of, drawing inspiration from artwork or things that are already out there, but making it my own.
So like here, I want the shadows here. I want the light over here. So I'm making her ear darker right here compared to this ear. So I'll go ahead and ink her ear right here darker as well with the thicker pen. I'll go in with the small one and then I'll go back. If you can see how different this is. With her eyes, I don't want it to be super big or super thick. I want the details to be pretty thin here. But then to color in, I'll go ahead and get a base marker, like the paint, and color in her eye.
What type of pen is that?
This is type B. I highly recommend it if you want to be an inker. You can see, oh, can you see? It's just a B.
Is that also a good pen for lettering?
Yes, yes it is. So this is just like a felt tip, basically just like a marker. Another one that I recommend if you're gonna do like calligraphy is the C. And if you open it, it's like a flathead. Yeah, fancy. And also for Inktober, I didn't mention, but you don't have to do a drawing. You could also just do letters. It's just, the prompt is just to help you draw, because a lot of people, when you, it's like a writer's block, you don't know what to draw. So the prompt is helping you with a subject to just do a sketch and do it. This is one of the thicker ones. How thick this is compared to this little one. Very different. But yes, I highly recommend a B, at least, because the felt tip is just so much fun. And if you're coloring in, such as this example, you could just color in all this code instead of going in with a little marker or like a felt tip, like a number 3. This will just be taking forever. Let me see.
So how'd you come up with the idea of a gargoyle cat?
I like cute things. And gargoyles are known to be, no offense, but they're not very cute. So I combine cute and scary with a cat. Like, why not? She has wings. There's wings here. I could start with the wings. So the light source, I'm always keeping in mind with the light source. So her wings right here at the top are gonna be thin because that's where the light's hitting. And then under here is gonna be dark. So here I'm gonna go in with the thin marker. And now I'll go with the thicker one and do it. I could do it right here. This is where the shadow's going to be. And also here. If it's in frame. And then this is her inner wing. So I gotta make this also dark. And it's gonna be feathers here. So I'm just gonna do like some scallops here. And I don't really do realistic art. It's mostly just cartoon. This is why she's all cutesy. And then just shade this. I'm probably going to go into this thin one and just add some, probably like some cross hatching here. Just one way only. And then if I want to add some more, I could just add some more wings. And then here as well. Oh, you can kind of see she's coming to life. It does take a while. It takes a lot of patience. And most of all, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you could just go over it and ink over it. It's like, I don't know if people here draw with or put eyeliner on their eyes, where you end up with like too much, so it's like a raccoon. You'll pull it off. It'll be a great look. Actually, I'm gonna do it with the dark one over here. A great place to get their markers also is Hobby Lobby or Michael's, because they have deals. You can use your coupons. And markers totally count. Where else? So this is her tail. I'm probably going to do that with the light one. And I'm gonna cross hatch over here. So again, light here, shadow here. So go ahead and just go here.
Have you ever done Inktober before, Jax?
I have done Inktober before, but I didn't do a lot of black and white. I did lots of color on that one. Like I did lots of the markers, which is why I still have some markers with me. I like to make mine out of themes. So like I chose these colors because this is like kind of fall. Last time I did it was in 2019. And my 3 colors for that was purple, pink, and blue. So it's a lot of black, white, purple, pink, and blue drawings.
And sometimes I've seen online that people do their own themes. They don't even follow the prompt.
Ooh. Or they do like characters and they add it into their theme. Like this person.
So they'll draw the same characters throughout the entire month?
Yeah, so they'll draw Alice in different prompts. So they'll probably like for gargoyle, they'll probably draw Alice as like a gargoyle, or they'll draw like the Cheshire cat as a gargoyle, or put it into Alice in Wonderland theme. And they did it for all 31 days, which is insane.
That's really cool. Or like Alice riding a gargoyle.
Yeah, Alice could be riding a gargoyle, sure. But it's up to you. Make it fun. Make it you. Draw whatever you like. Like, don't just draw or copy other people. Make it unique. That's part of the fun. And online, like, it's really great to see other people's interpretations of gargoyles. So I don't know how many gargoyle cats are going to be out there, or lots of gargoyles sitting on the rooftop with Batman. Who knows?
That's true. If you go on social media and you check out the hashtag Inktober 2022, you can see what other people are doing each day. Maybe even get some inspiration from them.
Yeah. And it's really great. It's a really good community. Everybody is always like trying to uplift each other, and like they share each other's artwork. And that's how I got kind of like more well known a little bit. Because that's like Inktober is like the spotlight every artist wants to do, because every artist is like going on it, and you just share and repost each other, and everybody's like, oh, it's so great. I love it. Which is why I kind of continue it almost every year.
Yeah. I tried to do it, I think a year ago, and I only did the first drawing. So my
Hey,
goal for this year is 2.
That's why it's a challenge, is you get burned out really fast.
You do. Do you have any tips to avoid burnout?
Ooh, I guess my number 1 tip is draw small. If you need to draw something, draw it small. There's no reason that you need to fill out the whole page. You could fill out a quarter of the page. You could like just do like a little, like if it's a skull, just draw a little head, or if it's bones, just draw like one little bone and post it. Boom, done. It does not have to be super big or extravagant.
Or super detailed.
Exactly. You could do it very simple, and it's totally up to you.
I think I saw somebody once who would just write out the word and then decorate it.
Yeah.
And it counts.
Yeah, it does count. Like, why not? That's the beauty of it.
So what are you doing right now?
This is her tail. Maybe don't touch the drawing when it's still wet with ink, because then it smears. I did a little cross hatching here because this is the shadow that I want for her tail. But I totally need to do some more stippling, which I do not like. I'm gonna add some stippling everywhere. I'm just showing you guys different techniques. I'm trying to add all the techniques in this one drawing, and I will post it up on my social media later. At which is Stop Mushroom on Instagram.
And I'll add it to the chat right now.
Ooh. Speaking about burnout, in 2019, there was a prompt for a witch, and I totally did not do it because I was just so tired by half the sketch. Did I do it? Did I finish it? No, but I love it. maybe if there's a prompt later with like plants or something, I'll do this later.
Good point.
Yeah,
You
but
can always save your sketches for another year.
yes, always save your sketches because you can do it another year. And they always like post up the prompt for at least the Inktober one by Jake Parker. He always does like posts it sometime in September, like usually within the first week. So you could go ahead, get your sketchbook and doodle out some ideas for all 31 days.
I saw that online that a lot of people do thumbnails to showcase what they're going to be drawing each day. Is that something you also do?
I definitely look ahead and I look up what artists are doing so I could have more ideas for my own. Because sometimes I don't know what to draw. Like one of the prompts is booger. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna draw an actual booger? I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one. If you guys have any ideas for booger, let me know.
I'm telling you, you draw a dragon that looks crusty.
Ew.
And it's a crusty dragon.
I'm just probably gonna write out booger for that one, to be honest.
Always an option.
I'm gonna write it out, but like make it all slimy. I did not explain about Copics, did I? Copics. Copics is very expensive. I think this whole pack for me was like $50. I did not buy it. It was a gift. The Copics has a brush and a flat tip pen, which is great. What's great about Copics is usually they don't bleed through the paper and they blend well with other markers. But I chose this one because I wanted to do the moon over here. So since this is already all inked out, I was gonna go ahead and do the moon for you guys, just to show you what Copics does. And it also adds some like dimension, I think. It really showcases your drawing.
Nancy has a question.
Go
How
for it.
long should we spend drawing each prompt?
Oh, well, ultimately that's up to you. I spent about like 3 days coming up with a gargoyle cat. My first gargoyle drawing idea was, I don't know her name, I forgot, but she's from the cartoon of Disney gargoyles back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember. Or old enough. Dimona.
Dimona?
Yeah, because like she's the first idea for me when I thought of gargoyle. But then I wanted something to be more cute, so I went ahead and just did a cat. And see how this really pops out? Like, amazing. Easy. I highly recommend markers. I'll go ahead with smaller details with a small brush. See how it's kind of like, it looks like it's shaded here. And it's not super thick compared to this line. Nice. Right here at the tip, I'll probably do some stifling as well. Make sure she has a stony texture. I do want to see some drawings of gargoyles and Batman next to each other. I think that's really fun. And I am interloping these two styles. It's totally okay. There's no rules. And I'm actually gonna do it darker here. I don't know, kind of like how she's coming up. People could see this. Do I really have no more questions?
If you do, you can write them in the chat and I'll read them. Ooh, I've seen some people actually use white pens for Inktober.
That's true. Yeah. White pens are great or whiteout for mistakes, but I like to say there's no mistakes. But like a white pen here for her eyes would be great to add like a little shine, like a little dot right here to really make it pop. Or like metallic pens to really add some sparkle, some jazz to your drawing. You can totally do that. Usually white pens are great for like this person. I don't know if you guys could see, but there is some white details here. It's going to be a hassle to ink all his coat and not do the white details. So people just ink black all over it and get a white marker and go in with the smaller details to really make it pop. That's usually what the white pen is for. Do you recommend?
I know sometimes long strokes can be really difficult. Do you have any recommendations for long strokes?
I don't know if you guys been noticing how I draw. I don't draw in long strokes. I draw short strokes, such as, or maybe I could show right here. So I have like this ledge. I can't, my hand is probably not steady enough to go straight ahead. And look on it. I just go back and forth, honestly. And people don't even notice. It looks like I did it once. Or a great tool for Inktober is ruler. Ruler is your best friend. Or like here, I should have done it with a darker pen because it's the shadow. I'll just go over it a couple times.
How do you constantly remember like where the shadows are? Is it something you just have to continuously remind yourself, or are there some techniques to help beginners who might not always remember about shadows?
It's something I constantly had to remind myself and pay attention to. Like the shadow here, I'm doing it here, but the moon is in the back. That doesn't really make sense, to be honest. Since the moon is in the back, the shadows, all of this should be in shadow, you know. But since the moon is like this way, the light's coming this way. That's why it's kind of making it lighter here. So if the light was this, if the light was shining here, typically whatever the light is touching, it's white. And then underneath it gets darker.
So then if the light was there, it would be darkest on the down there. Okay.
Yeah. If the light was here, then all of this should be white. I don't know, it's just, you could totally experiment on yourself. Like just get an object, get a flashlight, shine a light on it and pay attention like to the colors of the object. And it's just a lot of studying, basically. There is apps out there now that helps you with the shadowing, but it is a skill that's a little tough.
Could I do all of the darker lines? We used to do all the darker lines after, right? So maybe, okay, so I would do all the lighter lines first, and that would help me think about shadows.
Yeah, I like to go in everything with a thin marker and then go in later with a darker one. But you know, I'm just showing you guys other techniques. But for this is my shadow, this is my light. Light is coming from here. Is it correct? I don't know.
Artistic
Does it look
freedom.
nice? Yes.
Have you ever done an ink wash before, Jax?
I have not done an ink wash before. An ink wash, basically you get ink and water and a paintbrush. It's not paint, because you're doing it with ink, but you're painting your drawings. And you could totally, it's like watercolor with ink. It totally counts. Some people might argue against that, but they're wrong. So like for the stony texture here, I'll probably just like some contrasting whites, to be honest. Make it like a rough look. Another thing that you could do for your drawings for Inktober, you could totally just sketch out your drawing and then just color it with markers. Kids do it all the time and they don't even know.
One of the cool things about the Pigma Micron pens is that they're waterproof. So if you do decide to do ink washes, or if you do decide to go over it in marker, it won't bleed.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Nice choice on these pens.
Thank you. A lot of research went into it.
Oh, I totally did not do her little nose. Okay, so add some lights that adds like fur. So I'm just gonna go in and draw some fur for her. One of the questions I always ask myself is when is too much? And that's honestly up to you. You could go ahead and add lines forever. And I think maybe too much would be like if it's all blocked out, to be honest.
Like the Grim Reaper photo.
Well, the Grim Reaper, they did that with a purpose, but man, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
If you really look at the cloak, all that detail. I don't think he did that with a white pen. I think he just went in and hatched every single line. But you don't have to do that. I just want to show this drawing one more time. Beautiful. This is basically just an ink painting, but that's okay.
When you say ink painting, do you mean ink wash?
No, I think
Or
she used Copics. I know for a fact that artists use Copics, and it's great. But Copics are expensive. If you don't want to buy Copics and you just want to start color markers, I recommend the I don't know if you can see it, Crayola Super Tips. Totally recommend these. These are a good beginner marker.
with Copics, you can layer them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not with Crayolas.
No, kind of. Not as great, but they're a good secondary.
Okay. They
That's
don't
why,
blend as well.
yeah, that's why I recommend these for a beginner. Copics are pretty expensive. You know, ink is kind of like you're coloring with pens. Like all this shadow, all this detail I'm doing, I'm basically, you know, coloring the picture here. She's slowly coming to life.
That's true. Oh, I have a question. Sort of ties back to the question that they had earlier in the audience about tracing.
Mhm.
Could you trace like real life photos?
Yeah.
Because technically that wouldn't be stealing from an artist, right? It's just a Google image.
If you take your own pictures.
Mm.
I love artists. They always carry a camera, but thankfully everybody has a camera in their pocket. It's your phone. If you see something really nice and pretty and you want to say, hey, I want to draw that, take a picture, copy it, print it out if you must, and trace over it. Boom. It's not really, you can't, there's no rule about copying or tracing nature. Artists do it all the time.
That's true.
Another great thing I do is take pictures of my hands, because hands are really hard to do if I want a certain pose.
Would you say that hands are the hardest thing to draw?
No, I say the absolute hardest thing to draw is a human ear. Think about it. The inside of a human ear, all those little ridges and curves, everybody's ear is a little bit different. And then when you look at it really hard, it looks weird. Like if you guys are bored or something, look up drawings of, people and look at the ear. It's something artists,
Struggle with?
yeah. Everybody says hands, but no, the true artists know it's the ear.
So interesting. Never would have thought of that.
I'm gonna add some.
For Nancy, the hardest part is the face.
Well, there's formulas for the face. Here you go, Nancy. This is just for you. A face. Basic face is a circle, right? And then you have your chin draw. On the circle itself, draw a half. Right here, this is where the nose is. And then the mouth is right here. About halfway point of each line here, it should be the pupil. So you could, it's a little creepy, but this is just a really quick sketch. I'm sorry, guys. And then nose, the pupil is always at the end of the mouth. And what other tricks do I know? I think the eye, look at me, Hisela. Yeah, the eye is at the top of the ear. So ear's here, and then it's at the bottom of the nose. So wherever the bottom of the nose, so this should be the ear.
Oh.
Yeah, there's basic formulas. If you look online, but of course, that's for realistic drawings. For cartoon drawings, you could do whatever you want. That's why I love it so much.
How did you first get into cartooning, Jax?
When I realized that realistic drawing was really hard. It's too hard. And also it's just a lot of patience.
A lot of detail.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the darker pen here, because this is where I want the shadow to be. Do you know how I stumbled into Inktober? Just online with my friends, because I saw them, they were just drawing lots of ink drawings. And of course I was in college. I was like, well, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's Inktober. And I'm like, what's that? And they give me the whole spiel. And I only did like 3 drawings for the first year of like, what was it, 2017? And I felt so defeated and I didn't want to do it again. But look at me now.
What made you try it again?
I thought it was a good motivation, especially if you're following other artists and you see them post. It's like, well, they could do it. I can do it too. And it's really great if they post like ahead of time. So you have till the end of the day to look at other people's examples. And you could just draw something like, oh, I like that. I'll draw something like that my own. I'm really regretting all these little dots. But it makes it look like a stone, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, she looks so cute. Let's see how this works. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I'm experimenting a little bit here. I'll add some here. This is the darker one. Okay. I'll go ahead and darken this because this is her leg. And also, if you came in late, I told people that I go in with the thin marker first and trace everything out, and then I go in again with a darker pen to create the shadows before I want.
Are there certain techniques that are better for certain like textures, or like for stone you're doing stippling? Like if somebody were to try to do fur, try to do hair, I don't know, skin or something else, are there certain shadowing techniques that are better for it?
Ooh, that's a good question. Everything is relatively, you could do it for every single texture.
Mm.
I could add stippling to different like skin because everybody has pores.
That's
Do
true.
that. You could do hair. Probably with hair, I suggest contour going with the hair.
Mm.
I don't know if I should show you. For hair, I'll definitely do this one. Stippling, I'll probably do it for the pores of the skin, but
Like lamb fur,
Ew.
lamb's wool.
lamb's wool.
I probably do doodles.
Yeah,
Or trees too. The little bushes.
there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
Art is art. You do whichever you're most comfortable with. I definitely say try to practice all of these. Like draw, if you want to draw like what, a tree.
Mhm.
Draw like, what do I have, 7 different trees and definitely shade it in all different ways and see which way you like best.
Good advice.
I personally like cross contour or just regular hatching. Or contrasting lines, that's always fun. Like I don't like what I did here. That's okay.
If you could go back, what would you change it to?
This, probably just like regular lines because I already did it here, but like I could cross hatch. Thank you, so I'll cross hatch here to make up for it, to make it seem like I did it on purpose.
It's cohesive.
When it dries, it's gonna look like that. So look amazing.
Ooh. With Copic markers, is it like wet on wet? Do you have to wait until they dry for blending, or
It's up to you.
you can do both?
I don't know if I could like show. I didn't think people would be interested in Copics.
So Seven has a question. He's asking, where do you get the prompts each day and where do you share them? So the prompt that Jax is following right now is part of Jake Parker's prompt list. He's the one who actually created the Inktober challenge. I'm just gonna pop in really quickly. We gave him out with the Inktober kit.
Attention. The library will be closing in 30 minutes.
Sorry,
The
that's a
second floor will be
recording
closing
for the
in 15
library.
minutes. The study
You
rooms
could just
are now
bear
closed.
with it.
Thank you.
But
Atención. La biblioteca va a cerrar en 30 minutos. El segundo piso va a cerrar en 15 minutos. Las salas de estudio ya están cerradas. Gracias.
Thanks, Evita.
yeah, we tried to work around the recordings, but they still got us. If you got a kit, it's in the kit. If you didn't get a kit, you can find it online. He has a whole website dedicated to Inktober. So it's on there. You can save it on your phone. You can find it on social media. As for where do you share them? You can share them on social media with the hashtag Inktober, hashtag Inktober 2022. And if you would like us to see it, which we would love to, just put hashtag Salinas Public Library. We'll be browsing through every once in a while just to see what everybody's up to. And yeah, if you don't have a social media, you can also share it just with friends and family in person.
And you can look into our social media for any updates because we do have some staff members. Other staff members are artists and they're gonna post some of their prompts lists for whatever day they choose. Like I know somebody chose, who did? I think somebody chose Krabby and Empty.
I mean, you already saw my sketch as I'm trying to work through scallops.
Oh, he
Yeah.
saw that already did the scallop.
I saw that there was another question about the kits. We actually ran out that same day. They went out this Tuesday. Usually with any of our kits, they're super popular. You should try to get there as soon as possible because we usually run out completely at all 3 branches before the end of the day. I also saw a question from Nancy. Could you read it out loud, Jax?
Let's see, can you use different styles of overlapping, hatching, and stippling? Yes. That's what I've been doing, like basically this whole thing. I don't know if you could bring it up. Oh, never mind, I'll zoom up. I did some hatching here and I did some stippling here. Do I like it? I don't know. Maybe you guys can make it work better for yourself. I was just testing stuff out as we go. But look at her, I love that. Super cute. And also, I think that is it.
Yeah, that is. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us. I just want to say one more thing. If you didn't get a kit, you can also just get, binder paper, get copy paper, use a ballpoint pen.
Yes.
Yes, you can go the most basic. The whole point of Inktober is just to get you drawing and get in the habit.
Yeah, just participate, post it online. Everybody online is super nice and friendly. You'll probably make like some artist friends.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Have a good one.